What's up, military millionaires? I'm your host, David Pere. Today's episode is going to be a little different. I'm going to bring on Stuart Grazier, who is my partner on the mastermind group we host, and we're going to bring in two different members of the mastermind group. And what we're going to do is we're just going to talk through accountability, kind of what a mastermind group is, specifically what this mastermind group is like, and how being around like-minded people will help you grow. We're also going to talk about a little bit of the future of the group towards the end, and also discuss some of the different ways that people challenge each other, and just some cool conversation at the end for sure. So stick around. But this episode is geared towards helping you understand why you need to get around of people who are thinking in the same way you are that will challenge you to grow. With that being said, show notes are always found at FromMilitaryToMillionaire.com/podcast. Now relax and enjoy the show.
You're listening to the Military Millionaire Podcast, a show about real estate investing for the working class. Stay tuned as we explore ways to help you improve your finances, build wealth through real estate, and become a person that is worth knowing.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dave from the Military Millionaire Podcast. We're doing something a little bit different today. I have my partner, Stuart Grazier, from the War Room Mastermind on the call, and we got two other members of the mastermind group, and we want to just talk about accountability, some of the benefits of a mastermind group, and some of the different things that you can get out of this, because we get asked about it all the time, and it's not always the easiest thing to explain. So we thought, hey, why don't we just put it on a podcast, and then everybody will always have a way to learn a little bit about what we're doing here and why it may or may not be a good fit for you. So Stu is a naval officer. We've been partnered together on this since October, but we've known each other for like 2 years now. And then we've got Marcus and Adam on the call, who are both service members. One is in England and one is in 29 Palms. And we're going to let them introduce themselves. But real quick, Stu, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. I'm excited. I'm wearing my Military Millionaire shirt, and
I see that.
pumped up.
But Adam is.
I'm excited to be a co-host today.
I know this is weird for me. I'm like, I have to introduce my co-host. I have to like remember everybody to introduce. Everybody's new. All right, Adam, Marcus, welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us on, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, stoked to be here, man.
Woo-woo.
All right, so both these guys have been a part of the War Room Mastermind, and they've both been crushing it and growing. It's been a lot of fun for us all to be a part of, holding each other accountable and learning together. But just kind of want to get into just introducing them. So Adam, we'll start with you. What's your current business and focus?
Okay, yeah. So currently, I own a couple single family properties. I've got a buy and hold real estate strategy. But I'm starting to get into multifamily. Kind of multifamily is my goal, and it's been great so far. Working on a duplex, working on a larger multifamily deal as a limited partner. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Cool, Marcus. How about yourself, buddy?
Yeah, right now you're currently sitting at about probably about 14 buy and hold single family, a couple commercial properties and stuff that I've accumulated over the past 15 years or so. Since I came over here to England, we can get more into some of the details and stuff. But just since the first of the year, started doing a little bit of private lending, working on some limited partnership and syndication, and just kind of expanding out from the buy and holds.
That's awesome. I like the fact that both of you are starting to mess around with different strategies, which is cool. Because that's, people always told me I had to focus. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay, but you got to be able to pivot a little bit here and there. So, all right. So the next question we're going to ask is to tell us a little bit about your journey and how you guys started on it, when, where, why. So Adam, what got you started in real estate?
Okay, so believe it or not, it was about a decade ago. I was driving across the country on a PCS, and I listened to a book. You may have not heard of it. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So write that down.
That one.
Go read it.
What? I've never heard of that book before.
Yeah.
What's that about?
That planted the seed. It took a long time for that seed to grow and mature. About a decade later, I bought my first house I lived in, 2017. Turned that into a rental. Parlayed that into a turnkey rental. Really great experience. Took that. I worked on a couple duplexes in Northwest Arkansas. I failed probably 4 or 5 times in between that and the next duplex I'm actually getting under contract now. I got into a joint venture, 42 unit. So I've been experiencing a lot of stuff, but really it started in 2008 timeframe. Bought my first house in 2017. Bought my first investment property in 2019. Now I'm working on a duplex. I'm a limited partner in a larger syndication, and I'm also doing private lending.
Awesome.
Crushing it, man. Crushing it. Love it.
Mr. Marcus, what about you? Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so kind of my real estate journey really started 2004 was the first property that I ever purchased. I was going through enlisted to a commissioning program. I went back to Columbia, Missouri, bought a condo that I lived in, and house hacked it before we were all cool and called it house hacking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that for 3 years there. And when I left, I went out to Hawaii. Obviously pretty expensive. I was deploying a lot, and I didn't really. At the time, I'm a finance major, so I've always enjoyed finance in that aspect, but I wouldn't really say I was necessarily intentional or, dedicated to real estate at that point in time. So I was out in Hawaii for a few years, moved to San Diego a few years later, and it wasn't until 2010 when I bought my next single family property. It was kind of opportunistic to buy, and still wasn't really like looking to do it. It was just kind of came along. And then in 2013, I was still in San Diego, and I ended up buying about a 36 acre farmland. So over the course of, 10 or 12 years, those were my only 3 purchases, so it wasn't really intentional or quick. It was just kind of as things came along. Late 2016, started an LLC with my 2 brothers. And then about 6 months later, our 2 brother-in-laws joined us as well. So there's 5 of us all together. And we were just kind of, our goal with that was really kind of building up, for our families and stuff, to build up that equity and some generational wealth there to pass down. And a lot of that was kind of revolved around our hometown, our community. So a small community in Northeast Missouri, and trying to, create better properties there and give back to the community. And so over the past 3 years or so, we've accumulated about 10, 12 properties, mostly single family. As I mentioned, a couple commercial properties. But so at that time, obviously the pace was kind of picking up a little bit. It was kind of there towards I was in Colorado for a few years where I met Stu and stuff. And it was kind of during my time there, kind of after we had started the LLC as a family and doing some buy and holds, that I really started getting a little bit more intentional. I was going to a few meetups that Stu was holding there, starting to read and kind of educate myself a lot better than I had in the past. And I came over here to England about a year ago. And so it was, just right. I was getting excited about meetups and networking and stuff. And you kind of throw that wrench into an international move and stuff, So yeah, I had a couple of conversations with Stu, and that was part of the reason it was exciting for me, for the mastermind and stuff to kick up. It kind of gave me an opportunity to still do some of that networking, talk about that more later on. But, and being over here, I've continued to buy a couple buy and holds during that time frame, but it's given me an opportunity to kind of, as we talked about before, venture into some other opportunities, the private lending and some limited partnerships and stuff. So that's where I am today.
Right on.
It's a good transition to kind of talking about our mastermind group a little bit more. And, David and I had started it back in last October, and both of you were fairly early members in our group. And so I was just kind of curious, why did you decide to join a mastermind group, and why ours, the War Room Mastermind group?
Yeah, I think I was your first member, and if not,
I think you were. I think you were, man.
So member number 1 here. So it makes me think of, similar to Marcus, right? You start surrounding yourself with people who are thinking like you. Because when I look around right now without a mastermind group, there's not a whole bunch of people around me doing real estate. There's not a lot of people to talk to about it. It's a great quote from Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich, where he says, if you find yourself weak and persistent, surround yourself with a mastermind group. Like, okay, so I want to continue to do this. I want to be persistent, consistent, and intentional about all the things I'm doing. Like, I need to find people who are doing what I want to do, people who are where I want to be, and people that I can talk to every day about it. And that's what I got out of the group. That was my mindset. Find the people who are doing what I want to do, things that I'm passionate about, great people, just be intentional.
Love it, man. Marcus, why'd you join, buddy?
Yeah. So, I think like, probably a lot of the other military people and stuff, I had this aspiration or loosely defined goal, I guess, of that, I wanted to replace my military, income with, passive income or other cash flow and stuff by the time I retired. And, having been in, for 19 years at this point, it's coming up right around the corner. So that was kind of my goal and stuff. And then over the past few years, I've kind of talked more, especially after we were starting to accumulate more real estate and, with my brothers and stuff about how that passive income was going to replace my military paycheck. But if I was honest with myself and stuff, I wasn't really being intentional about it, and I wasn't really on a glide path to actually make that happen. So I was kind of really looking for the accountability is kind of the initial thing that drew me to it. And since Adam threw out a quote, I'll attempt one as well. But I think it was John Delemy or something that said something to the effect of accountability is what separates the wishers from the action takers that care enough about their future life to account for their daily actions. And so I think it was I was looking for that accountability to take account for my daily action and put myself on a glide path to do that. And I think joining, the benefits have far outweighed just the accountability aspect. But I think joining was a kind of a pivotal moment. Although I had taken some action in the previous years, it was kind of a pivotal moment to really get intentional and be accountable to myself and to others about the actions I was taking.
I have to ask, did you guys prepare with those quotes, or do you really have those like memorized? I'm pretty impressed if you have them memorized.
No, I got like 3 or 4 Napoleon Hill quotes that are like on stickies on my computer that
Nice.
I'm a big fan of.
I won't say I have that one memorized, because if someone fact checks me, I might have missed a word or two. But I think over the past, I think we started this in October and stuff, right? So, and I'm kind of in full drive right now to make sure I meet my goals by the time I retire here in a couple of years and stuff. And so that has been one that has kind of stuck to me in that transitional period for me, I think.
How do you feel like the mastermind group has impacted your business, Adam? Like, how's it helped you out a little bit, or not helped you out? I don't know.
I mean, I'm kind of like a numbers guy, a factual guy. So, like what have I done since I joined the group, right? So I bought 1 single family, working on the duplex right now with a purchase agreement signed there. I got 2 other duplexes under contract that went through due diligence that, had bad plumbing. We had to abort that. I got into a 42 unit joint venture deal, $2 million worth through due diligence. Couldn't find common ground in that. Had to abort that one as well. I've been able to do private lending, and I'm a limited partner on a syndication. So like when you say, how is it going since you've been in the mastermind? Like, all that credit is to the people that are surrounding me, because without really having the confidence of other people's experience, it's harder to take action, right? Because it's education, take action, and then you gain experience. But with the mastermind group, I'm able to call Marcus in England and say, hey, I'm looking at this thing, what do you think? Or I'm able to call Tom or some of the other guys in my group and say, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And they can either say, hey, Adam, you're just looking at the numbers, you're not looking at all these other things as I normally do, and help me out. But they've helped me to grow exponentially. And that's not just me. Like in my team, one guy in my team has added 10 doors since we started, just since October. 2 other guys have bought single families and are working on other ones. And, one of the guys has a multifamily deal here in 29 Palms where I live that he's just about finished repositioning. So like, I'm super excited about what he's doing next. It's awesome.
That's cool, man.
That's cool.
That excites me.
Yeah, I didn't buy 10 doors. Marcus, what about you, buddy?
Yeah. You know, I mean, really similar to Adam and stuff. You know, we started this back in October, so we're like, what, eight months in or so, 9 months. I'm not going to do the public math here, but you know, I wouldn't say I took any specific action probably from October to December. It was mostly just, you know, kind of getting to know the squad, getting to, you know, educated with our monthly calls, some of that kind of stuff. And I think after the, you know, kind of coming around the turn of the year and stuff, things have taken off quite a bit. You know, as I mentioned, we've kind of accumulated a couple new buy and holds after the first of the year, done, you know, I think 3 private lendings already, you know, a limited partner and a syndication, that all just since the late January timeframe. So I think it's, you know, just remarkable, the escalation of action taking and stuff. And, you know, the stuff that I have with my brothers, you know, we've been able to, you know, learn like systems and things like that we've, you know, been exposed to from talking with other people to try to, you know, make things more systemized. And, you know, Adam kind of hit on it. It's really amazing. You know, we have the meetings weekly, squad meetings and stuff where we're kind of accountable for our small groups. You know, we have the large groups where you guys have brought in some awesome speakers that have exposed us to stuff. You know, sometimes people are like, oh, that's just a podcast host, I'll never get to talk to them. And, you know, then we get the opportunity to engage with them and everything. It's really, really cool. And like Adam said, like Adam and I are, we're not in the same small group, and we communicate, you know, back and forth messages and stuff just as much as I do with some of the people in my squad. And so, you know, you can bounce ideas off. I came into this just doing buy and holds. And so just the education and stuff that you get from the other guys about the different opportunities, it's not salesy by any means, but the relationship that we get with each other, you know, you start to get access to our opportunities or exposure. And quite frankly, you really start to trust each other, you know? And so I think, you know, that's how things operate at the speed of trust. We've all, you know, seen that book and stuff. You know, so the opportunities just start, you know, happening quicker. You are comfortable with people around you, the advice that they're giving. I think it just really, you know, speeds up the action taken. And as Adam mentioned, I think, you know, you get excited about other people's successes and stuff too. So as I see him, you know, him succeed, I'm excited for him, and people are excited for me. And I think you kind of you work off that like motivation a little bit as well. So it's been awesome.
Hey Dave, and let me say this too. I got into a joint venture with 4 other guys. Okay, one was a retired NFL linebacker, one was a dentist, one owned a electric company in Milwaukee, and one was like the operations guy on the ground. All 4 of them are paying over $20,000 a year for coaching and mentorship and friendship. And this is what I'll tell you is our team is doing as much as they're getting. So our War Room team was doing as much as they're getting, and they're paying a collective $100,000 for the same thing, you know, we have in our military group. It's incredible, man.
Yeah.
Maybe we should bump up our prices. What do you think? No,
rookie numbers.
Speaking of that, I'll jump back in if you don't mind real quick on that. You know, talking about bumping up your numbers and the ROI. You know, when we started this back in the fall, we all kind of put like, what's our goal, like our 12-month goal or whatever. And you know, 8 months in, like I said, like I didn't take any action really specifically between October and December. So just since January of this year, you know, I've already exceeded what my goal was by 2.5 times. So whether that was me making too low of a goal, I'm not sure. But I think you can see like surrounding yourselves with these kind of guys, like what that will do for you, and girls, I should say.
Yeah, finally. No, I'm just. We do have a few girls in the group, so it's not all guys. But I guess when you have military background, it is kind of expected that it'll be a little skewed towards males. I don't know. Man, that's awesome, guys. That's exciting. Yeah, I know when Stu and I were talking about like pricing on this, that was like our number one thing was like, dude, it's service members. The goal on this is not to like gouge people for money. The goal on this is to make it just enough that people actually join the group. Because I think Stu had done it as well, but I'd been in 3 different free masterminds that never made it past the first meeting. Like they just maybe the second one, but I remember one mastermind group had 5 guys and I only ever met with one of them once. And it was like, oh, okay, well, this was fun. And I just kind of realized, like, man, when there's not like even a small price on it, people don't finish things. There's no skin in the game. And so anyway, that's cool to hear. I don't know that 20 grand is the skin we need to have in the game, though, Stu. I think we can stay without that.
Concur. What's been I can kind of guess what your answers are going to be, but what would you say is your favorite thing about the mastermind group so far?
Oh, for me, it's the people, man. It's the people. So
I know you were going to say that.
Well, check it out. Like here's an indicator of, the speed of trust, like Marcus mentioned. But so we meet weekly. There's a framework that's put to it. It says, okay, here's kind of the way you can take notes, some questions you can ask each other. And we recommend everybody meets weekly. And then once monthly, we do the big call with the whole group, right? My group talks every single day. We've got a Signal chat that we're in. And, yesterday we're texting about somebody's tenant biting the mailman, or somebody's tenant's dog biting the mailman. Like, I'm getting that experience and I'm not experiencing it. And,
that's awesome.
So I'm researching, all the things I can for my fellow teammate here about that. And that just is an indicator of what's the best part about it. It's the people. They're awesome people. You want to help people. You want to be in the group. You want to do better because the group expects you to do better. Definitely the people.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have to second Adam on that. I couldn't steer in a different direction. As I mentioned, when I came over here, I was just getting into the, meetups and really going and talking with people about real estate and everything. So I was really excited about the opportunity to do this virtually and stuff. Of course, everybody's been doing it virtually a lot lately, but yeah, as he mentioned, just the communication that we have with each other, like learning from each other's experiences. You're invested in other people's goals. They're invested in yours. Like just yesterday, Adam tagged me, challenged me to run a 10K. What I do this morning, I got up and ran a 10K.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. And so it's awesome. It goes beyond real estate. You get invested in each other's lives and, want the best for each other. And, I hadn't ran more than a 5K for a few months, so it was, it wasn't like I just go out there and do that every day, but, pushing each other to be better, knowing that they're there for you. We have that foundational level of trust just from being military to start with. And then once you get in this environment and starting to bounce ideas off each other and, asking each other hard questions to make sure we're making sound financial and investment decisions or other life decisions. And the people is number one thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had something that I was going to say and I can't remember what it was. So I guess
I bet it was going to be profound too.
We were like all on pins and needles waiting for this amazing quote that you were going to give us.
So profound. There we go. It was just going to be the fact that like one of the benefits to having a mastermind group that's specifically service members and veterans is when you talk about the people and how much you guys get along, like we all know there's something special about other service members and other veterans, like whether you're Air Force, Marine, whatever, you all get along on some level from that connection. And so we have this really cool bond in the group where everybody just ornately has something in common. And it's been cool. I mean, I have personal friends that I've known for years who've asked to jump in the group and I've been like, no, sorry, man. And one of them's like a firefighter. And I'm like, dude, I love you, but nope. Like it's close, no cigar. Like, sorry. We set this up as this way when we started it, and we're going to stick with it. And I think that's really cool because there's already a bond. And so it makes like getting to know everyone. I mean, it's really cool to be able to like just click with every single person in the group over something as big as like you're probably one of the largest life decisions you ever made. So I'm a huge fan of that for sure. All right. So the next question we're going to ask in here is, what would you tell others if they were considering, real estate or joining a mastermind group? That seems kind of kind of like a cliche question. So I'm just going to ask more like, what is it about accountability that you guys think has been so beneficial? Like that word, people hate that word because it means being held accountable, but like that's what you get a lot of times in a mastermind group. So I guess I just ask what your thoughts are on why accountability is important and how it's benefited you.
Hey, Dave, let me ask you if you've had this feeling as a Marine before. You're like running a few minutes late to something, and you're just have emotions running through, like, I'm late. Oh, like the world is obviously going to fall apart when I get there. People are going to be so let down, even though you could easily just call somebody and they'd be like, okay, cool, great, man. Just be safe, don't rush. But as a Marine, it's wired in you to never be late.
Yeah.
So you get that same feeling in a mastermind group. When I tell the group, this is my goal, here's my plan to get there. And when I say every week, this is what I'm doing this week, and I come on to the call on Saturday morning at 5:00, and they say, did you accomplish your goal? I don't want that feeling. I don't want that feeling of, I'm going to be late. The whole world is going to fall apart. So I make sure I do what I say I'm going to do. And I think that kind of microcosm of accountability is why you do that. You don't want to let people down, especially as a service member. It's not in our fabric to let people down. We just make it happen. And the group has really driven me to do that with real estate. So when I say I'm going to call, 4 different leads and I'm going to do this analysis, like I do it because I'm not going to let my guys down.
I hate when my group like gives me like the disappointed dad look, like, oh man, come on, you said you were gonna do that, and then I don't, and I don't like the disappointed dad look.
Well, the fun thing is people are okay with you, like so I'm in a mastermind group that I've been in for probably about 1.5 years that I pay a pretty decent amount for, and there's one guy in the group that we've been giving him busting his chops for like, I don't know, probably 2 months now, because he keeps saying like this week I'm going to do my taxes, and like finally somebody was like, look, if you don't do your taxes this week, you're going to write a check for whatever your return was to my charity of choice. And he agreed to it, and he got his taxes done. So like, it's kind of funny that you can do things like that. So and like people there, I don't know. Anyway, all that to say, I like your answer, Marcus.
Yeah, Adam's answer was absolutely fantastic. It's hard to compete with that. So just to expound on that, I totally agree. Like none of us want that type of feeling and stuff. And so I think when I think about the accountability and intentionality and stuff, like what we can achieve with that is so more, because number one, we don't want that feeling. But if I look back over the past few months, coming to those guys every week, or even interacting with them or others throughout the week, even if I did fall 10% short of what I said I was going to do, I probably achieved significantly more than if I was relying on myself, because it's easy to tell myself, I'm going to do this and then not do it, and tell myself I'm going to do this and then not do it. But when you have other people holding your feet to the fire a little bit, you're writing things down, you're telling people that you're going to do it. So that there are times, and there have been days in the past couple months, that have been pretty challenging. You're not, quite as motivated to execute and stuff. But I think, man, when I really look at it, because I have people holding me accountable, and stuff, that I really have achieved so much more than I would have if I had gone through this alone.
I agree 100%, man. I've seen a lot of growth within our groups, just from doing this and holding each other accountable. It's good stuff, man. So we've had quite a few guest speakers. We have a guest speaker every month that's coming and talking to us about different strategy or niche or topic kind of within the realm of real estate and investing. Didn't really prep you for this, but if you would say, like, what would be your favorite, speaker or resource or book that we've introduced to the mastermind group so far? What would you say has been kind of like your favorite?
All right. So for the book, I was a huge fan of the 4 Disciplines of Execution. I think that's probably one of the first. I think that might have been the first book we read.
Yeah, that was number one.
Yeah,
But
that's good.
even if you just take lead and lag measures out of that, and you kind of use that mental model for how you look at things, that's a great book in and of itself. And then for guests, I just found a lot of value in Whitney Sewell personally, and I think it's just because it related to me wanting to do like launching a multifamily, and then Bill Allen, mostly just because he's energetic and he's got a lot of stuff going on, and it's kind of cool. So Whitney and Bill Allen were probably two of my favorites.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's kind of tough doing this off the cuff without the list in front of me, because I'll probably forget one of them. But I agree a lot with Adam's there. Those are probably my tops as well, because the 4 disciplines of execution, the lead and lag measures, like I think sometimes it's such a basic concept. But we just go through life without that realization or moving towards our goals with focusing on the wrong things, right? And so I think coming into this, that was a pretty pivotal like mindset thing of like, to ensure that we're focusing on the lead measures to achieve the others and stuff. So that was pretty profound. I enjoyed Whitney and Bill a lot as well. And Bill, like, I'm not as much into the area of real estate that he is, but I think following him afterwards has been pretty awesome. He's just such a positive individual, especially watching some of his stuff over the past couple months, and some of the challenges. Going from where he was a few years ago to where he is today, I think it's just really inspiring. And there's just nothing that he doesn't believe he can't do. So I've really enjoyed following him and getting some inspiration. And then Whitney is kind of, in some ways, similar. Like as I move from just buy and holds to some of that like syndication type stuff as well, but just looking at his path and what he's done, and like I grew up on a farm with a lot of horses. We trained horses and stuff, and so hearing that about his background and the things that he did and the vast transformation was just really inspirational. From not always just like the strategies or things that they're doing, but just makes you believe like I can do this. You just got to surround yourself with people and go along for the ride.
And that's I agree. I actually really like the 4 disciplines of execution as well. So I'm glad you guys mentioned that book. It's one of those books that I need to read. Well, when I say again, probably multiple times, but it's definitely a good one.
And there's so many like actionable steps in that book, that you can kind of take away.
Yeah. And even if you just understand the idea of a lead measure, like that'll completely shape your goals in your future. It's crazy how many people sit around and go, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Okay, great. But what are you going to do? What do you mean? I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Maybe. How? Anyway.
Just challenge Marcus to run a 10K, and then he beats your pace by 20 seconds. And now you have to run another one.
To be fair, I did tell my wife that I was happy with a slower pace, but I was using yours as a goal. And so I was pleasantly surprised with the pace that turned out, considering I hadn't ran one for a while. But that's how we feed on each other and make each other better.
Adam, I think you should post something in our War Room group and just challenge everybody to a 10K today on Memorial Day.
Oh,
I'm running the Murph.
We're doing the Murph. We got to do the Murph.
The Murph.
Yeah, I think
I'm doing the Murph, and I'm totally out of my pay grade.
Guys. Oh, sorry, we got a bunch of recon guys.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I'm totally out of my comfort zone with this. I'm doing the Murph with one of my roommates today who just got out of recon like 3 weeks ago, and also a guy with an Iron Man tattoo on his calf. So I'm totally screwed, and I'm like, all right, I'm probably gonna video it and just be like, all right, let's just focus on how far behind I am. I'm gonna try to keep that gap under a certain timeline frame rather than.
Your military audience has all been out on a run with a buddy who, hey, it's gonna be nice and easy, guys, no big deal, just you and a couple friends, and that guy starts picking up the pace, and then you're like, okay, so you start picking. Marcus did that in England to me. Now I don't know how that was virtually possible, but he did that to me. Now I have to run faster.
I love it. It's awesome.
Hey, I just heard the best quote yesterday. You might have seen it on my social media. Did you see You see what I quoted Dave Green? So this resonates with me because the guys in my mastermind group are always like, yeah, you got a deal, send it to Adam. He'll put it in his, in his science machine, and then he'll send it back and tell us if it's a good deal or not, because I like to make spreadsheets. But David Green yesterday on the podcast said, I'm like, with a spreadsheet, me with a spreadsheet in my hand is like John Wick with a Glock in his hand, So I'm like, I'll take that comparison all day.
Love it.
I'm like you, dude. I love spreadsheets. I'm like a freaking spreadsheet nerd.
Have you guys taken the disc profile? What are you, Stu?
I am high C, high S.
What about you, Adam? Do you know?
What's the one that
and
says
middle
you're
I.
What's the one that says you're like a guardian or something? That's the one I did.
Nope, that's not the disc.
Not
All
the
right.
disc. No.
Marcus, have you done disc?
I have done it, but it's been a long time ago, so I don't really even recall what it was.
Stu, this is funny because if you think about this, we're gonna just go off on a tangent for a second. So I'd have to pull it up, but I swear I'm like a 99I and like a 60 or a 70D. So if you look at the disc profile, it's like decision, influence, stability. I'm getting all these wrong, but it's basically like drive, influence. So like the I, which is mine, is like people person, and then drive. So I'm like a visionary, and Stu is like the integrator. If you look at, which is just funny because if you knew anything about, like, Stu and I started this thing, we were like, hey, let's do this thing, it's gonna be cool. And then 6 months later, however long it's been, like, Stu basically handles all of the like behind the scenes logistics application. Like, it just kind of slowly morphed to where I was like, man, Stu's got that. I'm terrible at that. I'm out here and I'm doing all the, it's just funny because we'd never talked about this before, but I'm a huge believer in the whole disc profile. And as soon as Stu said spreadsheets, I was like, I like numbers. I like numbers. Like, I'm the no math work, like do it in my head, not spreadsheet guy. And so it's just funny how that works out. That like
it worked out in our business Storehouse 310 as well with Dave Gutierrez and I. Like, again, like, I'm the spreadsheets guy. I'm the integrator. Like, I'm like doing all the project management, like sending out tasks, doing all that kind of stuff. And then Goody's like the talker. He loves to get on the phone and talk with people. He'll talk to you for an hour about eating cheese. Like, it's just it's kind of crazy how it all works. And that's like when you're looking for business partners, and this is getting way off of subject, but I think it's really important to talk about is how you integrate. If you're looking for business partners, if like Adam and I decided to join a business, to create a business together, it probably wouldn't be the best, but we'd have to find somebody else to be the visionary.
We would have an epic spreadsheet.
We would have an epic spreadsheet. That's true.
Color coded and everything.
Graphs, pie charts, combo, like everything. Yeah.
I was going to say the same things to you before you mentioned that. It's been one of the really interesting things too, is watching like some of the different teams, and different partnerships. And sometimes when people are starting off, we think we have to do everything ourselves, and we're not good at everything. Right. And so I think it's really important to see that in others and find what our strengths and weaknesses are, and find others that have strengths that, complement and stuff. So it's been pretty neat surrounding yourself and exposed to other teams and kind of visualizing that.
It's interesting you say that because our small group, Dave Pere and our small group, we had this conversation last week about really looking at hiring people out that we don't like doing ourselves. And I think all of us have since decided to hire somebody in whatever realm it is, either bookkeeping or admin or, VA with social media. We've hired 2 people since our last call.
Nice.
We got an admin and a social media.
I haven't hired anyone. I just tweaked what my VA was working on, but I've definitely come to the realization that like I enjoy the like Lean Six Sigma stuff, the systemizing and optimizing and spreadsheet. I enjoy the theory of all that organizational stuff. But when it comes down to brass tacks, like, that's not what I'm doing. I'm going out of my way to film 4 videos. I'm not going out of my way to like decide which video needs to get uploaded when or how, or like, no, it's just done. Upload. Like, I had to outsource that stuff. And it's funny you say that. I think this kind of like correlates into a lot of what we're doing as we're getting into groups, as you're getting to see some of this. But yeah, understanding the like how your partner works. People jump into groups like there's a good friend of mine that you guys all know that we've talked about possibly partnering up on some stuff before, but I just don't know how it would work out realistically because I'm pretty sure he's like a 175D, and the chart doesn't go above 99, but he would find a way. And he's a pretty high I as well, so we would do amazing things in our heads, but as far as executing, we would still need a third person. Like, and I just read the book, Gino Wickman, The Rocket Fuel, which is another one. He wrote Traction, which is a book a lot of people are loving right now. And Rocket Fuel talks about visionary integrator mix. And I'm like, holy crap. Yeah, I need to find me. So I've like drawn out my like chart for like, once I get back to where I'm going to stay long-term, like hiring somebody for in the office and what I want that person to look like and do so that I can make that happen because anyway.
Yeah, those books, like all three. So he has Traction, Rocket Fuel, and Get a Grip is another one. Like all three of those books are fantastic for kind of putting your business together and thinking about like the big picture of business. And I mean, we've used those a ton in building ours.
Here's an interesting thought about what you said, Stu, is as military members, we're alphas, right? High level of confidence. We execute aggressively, but that is a double-edged sword. We also don't like to fail. So when you get in a group and you go, I know I need to hire this guy to do this thing that I don't want to do because I know it's going to make me better, you kind of toy with it for a while. But when you go into that meeting and everybody else in the group is like, yeah, I'm doing that too because we need to do that. It's going to be good for everybody. It just raises your confidence level. You probably would have sat on that maybe for another couple weeks, another couple months, and then eventually did it. But being a part of the group, that just expedites your confidence and then it expedites your action. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man.
Shoot, my roommate just hired a VA and basically replaced himself out of a side gig he was doing. It's kind of cool. It's like on autopilot so he can work on something else. I'm like, man, that's all right. But anyway, as much as we kind of sideballed there, I think that was actually a pretty good little segment as far as accountability, team building, and mastermind and all that. So, but I did want to just wrap up with the question for both of you. How can people get a hold of you if they'd like to talk to you more? Instagram, whatever.
Yeah, I'm personally mostly on Instagram, so REI_AW. But you can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. I do a lot on LinkedIn, so it's just my name there, Adam Whitney.
Yeah, for me, it's all the same. I'm on LinkedIn. Instagram is marcus.l.long, and Facebook as well. So any of the three will work.
Awesome.
And reach out. We love helping people.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we need to do coffee again if you ever make it out here to Pendleton again.
A haircut and laundry. You guys want to do laundry and haircuts together?
That's right. The picture was right in front of the laundry room.
It's like a perfect Marine meeting. You know what I mean? Yeah. Haircuts, laundry.
What else do you do on the weekend? Oh man, I love it. All right. Before we get off this though, real quick, I do want to just talk for a second. Stu wasn't aware of this, and you guys can jump in, but I wanted to just run through some things that we would like to do in the future, because I think that's cool anyway. So you all know we had been planning this event that's this weekend, and well, by the time this airs, it will probably not be this weekend since this is going to air down the road. But that was on May 29th and 30th, but it was going to be in person. We were going to rent out a bar, restaurant, and food, and be able to finally hang out and get to know each other. So, long run goal. Like we would like to be able to do some kind of in-person event for just the War Room, just the mastermind group, and be able to hang out in person more. It's the challenge of the fact that we live in 50 different area codes. So it's a bit of a struggle, but there's some definite goals there. So I don't know where I was going to go with this. I just thought I'd bring up that is a definite goal down the road, is to do more in-person meetups when possible.
Let's make that goal happen.
Yeah, I was really pumped, Dave, about when it was previously scheduled to be in St. Louis. I was actually planning on flying back, from England and stuff, to just really super excited about the opportunity to to meet in person with some of the guys, that we've grown these relationships with. And I think it's still going to be an awesome virtual event. Looking forward to it. But down the road, I look forward to the in-person events as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely make that happen. And we'll make it happen, Adam, as soon as we're allowed to go outside of our homes. I don't know what's going on anymore.
I think we're going to be good come October time frame. Yeah. So let's put a date on the map and let's execute.
I like it. All right. Well, hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Stu, any parting words?
Oh man, I think we're all good. I got kids yelling in the background.
Kids and sunrises.
Yeah, man.
Better day.
Yeah,
if we stay on long enough, Adam's about to get hit in the face.
I was gonna jump in, but I got like kiddo in the background, like screaming at me, and it wouldn't have been good. But I concur. I love. We got to do some meetups and groups, and lots of room for growth here.
Absolutely, always room for growth. No one's
That's
ever
right.
good enough. I mean, it's the wrong way to say that, but that's the Marine Corps way to say that.
There's always room to get better.
There you go. That's what I was going for. But
the Navy happened to save Marines again.
That's right.
Oh man, you guys all have a great day. Thanks for joining us today.
See ya.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you for listening to another episode about my journey from military to millionaire. If you liked it, be sure to visit FromMilitaryToMillionaire.com/podcast to subscribe to future podcasts. While you're there, we'd love for you to rate the show, give us a review on iTunes. Now get out there and take action.